I feel the presentation tonight provides all the tools to make an educated decision. The goal all along was to create an anchor, which will cause buildings to grow out of the ground. This proposal has already created that excitement. First, I'd like to introduce Ken Conaway to provide a little background.
Scott. Evening, Mayor, City Council. About 6 months ago now, Mark Campbell came to the job trailer as we were wrapping up the aquatic facility project. Sat there and talked about something that the city could do to develop this catalyst. We've been working on the Heights for a number of years. Retail, the entire market environment with retail has changed. That wasn't going to create the anchor for us. So first of all, I was honored that Mark asked me to lead the city through this process. I've enjoyed working with the city tremendously. Great relationship with staff and city council from Carriage Trails. Successful completion of the aquatic facility. I was also excited about working on this. I came to Huber Heights in 2006. I've worked in a lot of different places. I've never worked with a government group that is so forward-looking and willing to lead a community as this group here. You should be commended for that. Julie and I have lived here since 2009, and I also view this as a way to give something back to the community. I've donated my time on this process since September. The first 3 months of working on this before we brought it back to City Council on December 11th, not only was I donating my time, I had to call on friends and associates to do as well. We prepared as much as we could in a draft site plan, a draft budget for you all to consider. Brian Kinzelman, who you heard from later tonight, MKSK, he and I have worked together for years. He's worked with me on this particular site since the mid-2000s. He was the first person I went to for help in that process. ME Engineering helped us out with it. Through the city's marketing company, Joint Venture Advertising, we've put in contact with BEME, an operational group out of Cincinnati. From them, we got good first-hand insight into not only the operation of the facility, but a footprint of a building that they had built less than 6 years ago that has all the right features in it and works well. With a preliminary plan, a preliminary budget, and a number of assumptions, we came before you on December 11th, and you gave us the charge to move forward with due diligence that Scott was just talking about. The due diligence charge at that time was to make sure the project fit. We all have a vision and a desire for the Heights. This project was to enhance that, to be the catalyst for the development. Make sure that it functioned in our community. Verify the cost. We had a preliminary budget. We wanted to make sure that the costs were accurate. And then, of course, internally, the city had to work on the financing. We were about a month into our due diligence process, and as Scott mentioned, we came back and got an extension to engage another group. So we had our original group of consultants working on due diligence. What we saw the need for at that point was some measurability of assumptions that we were making. What kind of traffic does it really generate? What kind of sales tax revenue does it really generate? What are the naming rights really worth? Things that a report from a third-party consultant could help us not only to market the music center, understand the operation of the music center, but to, beyond that, market the Heights. The one thing that due diligence was a challenge for us in the due diligence was to gauge what kind of catalyst this would be. It was straightforward to work with Brian's group, and he'll walk you through the site plan in a moment, to determine site costs, to determine construction costs. That was much easier than determining what kind of catalyst this would be to generate future development. Amazingly enough, the city's commitment to take this project through due diligence and gain all the information that you have so far on this was enough excitement about it, enough of a commitment that you've already got a letter of intent to go beyond this. So that speaks to the catalyst that this has caused already. Standing here tonight, we've been through a process of draft report review with staff, with presentation to the administrative committee, And I'm going to turn the meeting over to Brian Kinzelman, who will talk to us about the new site plan and how everything works together, and we've evolved to where we are today.